Hello and welcome to OpenSolar. This video will cover how to design with LG Chem and model the benefits of designing with an LG Chem system in OpenSolar. We'll also go through a high-level run-through of the app. In OpenSolar there's 4 zones. The project zone is the CRM. Next is the studio zone where you'll be designing. The My Energy zone is the customer-facing side of the app, where you can customize your content. And finally, the control zone, all the way on the right, is where you can set up all of your account settings. We're going to visit the control zone now to show you how you can add in some of the LG Chem batteries. So if we go to the control zone and then go to the left-hand sidebar and click on Design and Hardware, and then go to Batteries. We can then come to the top right-hand corner and click on Plus Create. And then you can simply search for the codes in that search bar for all of the LG Chem codes. And you'll be able to see on our website, which is linked below in the description, the list of codes that you can search for. And I'll show them to you now here on the screen as well. You can also activate all of these components as you're designing in Studio. But you should add them in Control first if you want to add in your pricing and other information. Now we can come back to the project zone, where I'll show you how we can get started by making a new project. So if we come up to the top right hand corner and click on the New Project button, we can then simply go to the address and start typing in an address. Choose from the Google drop-down, and then we can choose whether we want our project to be residential or commercial, and also fill in any contact details that we have: first name, last name, email, and phone. And we can even add in any more details such as their electricity usage or the tariff they're on. But these are not mandatory, and we can continue to the design stage by clicking Create and Design. So you can see here we've moved from the project zone through to the studio zone, as you can see in the bottom toolbar there. So to get started, I'll show you some of the 3D functionality. So you can activate OpenSolar 3D, which will then load in 3D imagery if it's available. What this means is that the 3D imagery will be loaded in and you'll be able to run detailed shading analysis on each of the systems that you design. So you can left click and drag to move around this map area, and you can right click and drag to rotate around. You can also use the widget in the top right to quickly jump to certain views. To get started with the LG Chem functionality, if we come to the left-hand sidebar, we can click on the batteries and click on plus battery to add in a battery here. And so this will load in one of the LG Chem batteries if it's at the top of your list of your default ones. Otherwise you can click on select and choose one. But we're going to look at this first message that shows up, which indicates that the project would be better suited using a time of use tariff to optimize savings with a battery. So if we come back to the project zone, we can actually change this now. So if we then scroll down just in this project page all the way to the electricity utility section, we can then go to the proposed tariff here and click on this magnifying glass to search for a time of use tariff. So if you click on tariffs, current rates, you can use the keyword search to find a time of use tariff that you know, and you can also pick from the popular list shown here. So once that tariff is saved in, we'll be able to go back into Studio. And you can also see any details for that tariff by clicking on Details, or Customize to change any of the pricing or any of that sort of stuff for that. So if we click on Studio to come back into here, we can then choose a different battery. So if we click Select and go to the LG Chem 6.5, you'll see that that other message is now gone, but now we're presented with the compatibility message here. And so it shows a list of the inverters that are compatible with the LG Chem battery. And so if we add one of those in, that will make the system a valid system. So for this one, we're going to start out by adding in a battery inverter. So if we can do this by coming to other components, clicking on plus component here, and then if we click on select, you can see here it's already in my shortlist, but if it's not in yours, you can go to the right hand tab and click on Search Other Components Database to add it in. So for me, I'm just going to click on this GoodWe battery inverter here, and you'll notice actually here it's actually added in 4 new other components. And so these are actually capabilities of the system. So we have blackout protection, we have islanding, dark start, and automatic overload recovery. And so these are all capabilities of the system which can be shown to the end customer. And there's a description of each of these shown in the My Energy page, which we'll get to a little bit later. So we can minimize that now, and if we come up to the top here, we can get started by adding in some panels. So to do this, click on the plus panels underneath the yellow system tab, and then if we move our mouse around, we'll see that there's a panel following the mouse, which actually snaps on to the 3D DSM data. So it has the elevation data there, which actually calculates the slope and azimuth that the panels will be facing. So I've just clicked on the map here, and now I can click and I can drag as well to add in more panels. So if you click on those little grid squares around it and drag, you'll add in some there, and we can add in a second row as well. And you can also click on panels to remove them. We can also add in another panel group, so I'll just do so along this west facing roof here until we get to around 6.7 kilowatts as shown there in the system tab. So if we click on the system tab again, we'll be presented with a message here which is telling us we have a PV system but currently no PV inverter. And so if we now go to inverters, we can click on plus inverter here and add in this PV inverter, and that message will then go away. And so we've designed a valid system. We've partnered with LG Chem to bring you a modified version of our tool which will guide you through the design process to ensure that you're using compatible hardware and have created a system with all of the necessary components. So I've just clicked here to duplicate this system to add in a new one. And for this system, we'll actually go with not a battery inverter, but we'll actually go with a hybrid inverter. So if we come down to other components, we can actually change, we can remove this battery inverter there, which you can see will remove all of the other capabilities, and we'll get these messages here again. So what I'll do is I'll go to inverters and I'll add in a hybrid inverter. So if I click on select, once again I'll choose it from my list here, but you can search the inverter database if you're looking for one of these inverters, but I'll just choose this GoodWe inverter here. Fantastic, and so we can see that message goes away, and it also adds in those capabilities in the other components section here. And so these are tailor-made for each of the different systems. It will apply the correct capabilities to those. So if we come up to the top here, we'll see that the system also displays a message saying that this system here, so this combination of battery and inverter, is capable of PV oversizing. So this is not currently properly modeled in OpenSolar. However, you can, it is modeled differently depending on the simulation engine that you use in OpenSolar. So PV oversizing is when you oversize the PV array for the inverter, but rather than being clipped when the PV is producing at its max, the excess PV then goes into charging the batteries until they're full. And so currently, if you use the System Advisor model engine in OpenSolar, it will clip the inverter power once it goes above the inverter capacity. However, you can change this System Advisor model engine to another engine that we use, which is PV Watts, which will not do this. And so I'll walk you through how you can set this up here. So if we click on Show Detail, this is what I'm referring to, so the PV generation curve. So it will be clipped at the inverter capacity if it's just using System Advisor model. What we can actually do is if we come down to advanced settings here, we can actually see you can choose what calculation engine it uses, so we can switch this back to PV Watts, and we can see how this calculates here. And then what we can do is we can actually oversize this system. So if we click on this panel group, click on Move Horizontally, we can move this one around. and then add in some more panels by clicking and dragging on those grid squares. And this PV system can be oversized up to 8.5 kilowatts, as we can see here. And so if we then click back onto the system tab and we click on show detail, you'll see this is using PV watts. And so the inverter capacity is not being clipped here. However, it is exporting more than it should be. And so if we come down to advanced settings and we go to export limit and enter in the inverter capacity, which is 5 kilowatts in this circumstance, we can then see that the export is being clipped to there. And so the only situation where this wouldn't be perfectly accurate is when the load during the middle of the day is in excess of the inverter capacity. So if you're modeling any systems where this is the case, where they have a large load which is bigger than the inverter capacity during the middle of the day, this would overestimate the savings currently in OpenSolar. Fantastic. So now if we come to batteries and then we click select, what we can do is we can actually change this one over to a Resu 10, and we can also add in another low voltage Resu battery. And so if we add this in, we now have 2 of these Resu 10s in here, and you'll notice that there's a message which displays that when you have multiple of these batteries, you require the Resu Plus. And so if we come to other components and click Plus, we can actually add in this expansion pack. Again, if you don't have it in your active list, you can search for it in the other components database. The code is 13011, as shown in the message there. But now, once you've added that in, it goes away and you're able to model 2 batteries in that system as well. So what we can do now is, once again, we can duplicate this first system, and I'll show you a third kind of system. And so for this one, what we'll do is we'll actually change this battery from the low voltage range to the high voltage range. So if I click on select here, what I'll do is I'll choose the Resu 10H, which is one of the high voltage batteries there. And so what you'll notice is that this list of compatible inverters will then change. And so what we can now do is, if we come down to here, we can remove this battery inverter and we'll add in a hybrid inverter for this system. So if we go to inverters here and then click on select, we can then go to this Solar Edge inverter and click select here, which will add in this Solar Edge inverter there. That message will go away, and you'll also see that this system is also capable of PV oversizing. So it's also added in the battery capabilities there as well. And for this system, I'll also show you how you can model 2 high voltage batteries. So if we add in a second 10H, what you'll notice here is it will give you a warning saying if the second Resu 10H battery is connected to the same system, then it should be changed to the secondary pack. And so that's just another code that you can look up in the database, and then we'll be able to actually have 2 high voltage batteries in that system. We can also switch to the panel type over for this system. And we can also click this button to use DC optimizers for this Solar Edge system here as well. So that will automatically apply the number of optimizers that you need for that system. And then for this second system, we can also quickly model different panels as well. So that's a way that you can quickly sort of set up 3 different system options, all following the design rules for LG Chem systems. And now what we'll do is we'll go now into the My Energy zone, which is the customer facing zone, and I'll show you how these are shown to the customer and how you have control over a lot of these. One last thing is just to align the map. And so if I click on this top view here, it's not aligned quite properly with the 3D view. And so if you find this, you can just click Align and then click and drag to drag that back over, and then click Align again. Perfect. So now if we click on My Energy and then click Save and Continue, we'll go into the My Energy page here. So we'll be greeted with this pop-up message, and this is a fully customizable cover page message. So you can enter in any of your sort of details here. You can put in images. The customer will then click through to continue to proposal. And so this can also be sent to the customer as a link, and they can actually interact with the proposal here. So they can click between the different system options that you've designed and see the fantastic exhibit content here for LG Chem. So they'll be able to click on this video to play and see some of that. We'll also be able to click on some of the details as well, and also the specs. And they can toggle between the different system options as well. So they'll also be able to see some of these capabilities that I mentioned earlier, and so these have small descriptions to describe to them what the system actually capable of doing. So it has protection against blackout, islanding, dark start, and automatic overload recovery there as well. And so, as I said, all of these sections of the proposal are fully customizable. You can move them around and display how you want to display to the customer. The customer can then accept the proposal here and actually sign off, and you'll get an email notification that they've done that as well. You'll also get an email notification as soon as they open the proposal and view it. And if you're ever looking for any further support, you can always click on this support button in the bottom right corner, and you can visit our help center, or you can actually contact us at support@opensolar.com. So there's a few great videos on the help center if you're looking for some more detail on some of the things you've seen today, such as the 3D designing. But otherwise, this has been an overview of how to design with LG Chem and how to model the benefits of using the LG Chem systems on OpenSolar. Thanks for watching and have a nice day.